Hi, all you people who have tuned in to listen and or watch the October episode of the Soundgrifter 2018 Challenge video series. That's right, we have already entered the month of October, and so it's time for what could possibly be my favorite challenge. Do you guys remember that show Pimp My Ride? Well, as it turns out, I don't really care what my car looks like, as long as it sounds good. And I would have loved to use this car, but for some reason or another, it just wouldn't start. And so I had to choose a car that was slightly less vintage.
What?
I'm gonna give my car a soundtrack of its own. Let's go pimp this wagon. Obviously, I'm gonna begin by starting the car. And then smoothly move up to kick and bass. Yeah, the tire actually resonates like that. So the bass will be the tire ringing out. Yeah, now let's move on to the attack, which will be my kick. Naturally, I'll need to EQ, and let's not forget my favorite compressor, which, by the way, I'm cracking up to max. And distorting. This simplified plugin lets you saturate areas of the frequency range, be it lows, highs, or just keeping it flat. And if it's not enough, distort again. This is a multi-band distortion plugin, which lets you distort lows separately from highs. With all the bands having their own dedicated distortion parameters, it's actually more like having 4 distortion plugins bundled into one. Let's listen to the fuzzy low end now that I've cranked it up. Ooh, high end. That's what I'm talking about. In this month's challenge, sampling is pretty much the name of the game, and so you'll see me working with them frequently. And distortion is kind of the middle name of the game. The tremolo simply gives it more depth. And as we're operating a vehicle, safety should always be a priority. Here I need to control the dynamics using a plugin that shapes transients. And as if that's not enough, I'm gonna smear it out with a chorus effect. And since I'm still not happy, I'm gonna smear it out using a really warped reverb with no transient heads, no reverb tail. Now it's time to bring out some of that road rage. And like I mentioned before, I'll be sampling a lot throughout this video, and sometimes even stretching before. That was the honking from inside the car. Let's move on to the outside. It's got a nice set of overtones that makes it sound like a major chord. Playing around with the formant and the pitch lets me modulate the sound pretty freely. I think I'll let these two serve as percussion. So no sampling, just rearranging and distortion. And a bit of delay never hurt anybody. And surely I wouldn't forget the occasional freerider. Not when they provide such a beautiful sampler instrument. No, I'm not gonna sample the content of the CD, just the mechanics of the player. These two sounds work fine by themselves. I'll just need to EQ a little bit and arrange. And compress a little bit so they don't demand too much space.